Hi, welcome to your first rigging lesson. Okay, in the previous lesson, we had imported all of the images. We positioned them all, as you can see here. Left click on that little triangle to show them all. So all the layers are here. Okay, well positioned regarding this reference. And now we're going to start to adding bones. Okay, so there you go. With the bone layer selected and on the frame 0, remember it's the setup frame, okay? You go into this tool, okay, add bone, hit it, and we're going to create the main bone. The main bone, I usually create it right here, okay? Just click and drag, and you can use the shift if you want to like make it in a straight line, okay? It gives you 8 directions if you hold the shift, okay? So make it straight from here. Why here? Why not start with feet or with the head or whatever? I start with the main bone at the hip because of the center of gravity of the character. Okay, usually humanoid characters have their center of gravity around here, a little like a couple of inches beneath the navel. Okay, so this will help you when animating. Okay, so you can drag it right there if you want. Okay, using the T short key. Okay, it's this one, transform bone. Just hit the T on your keyboard and you can drag this part of the bone. You can also drag this one and change even its length and rotation, position, and all of that. Okay, but this size will suffice for now. Okay, if you now change to the first frame and use the manipulate bone or the Z, you can make everything move, okay? Because we just have this one bone, it's affecting everything, okay? So let's get rid of that keyframe with Control Z and go back to frame 0. Okay, now this is the area of influence of a bone. Every bone that you will be putting on the model will have an area of influence. This is when you move the bone, everything inside this area will move along with it, okay? At the moment, we just have this one bone, that's why everything is moving, okay? But further along, you're going to see that we're going to have to change the size of this, and you can do it with this one, okay? Bone strength. You can just drag it here, or insert a value by selecting this one and putting the value that you want, hitting enter, and there you go. This way you make sure that the value is the one that you want. At this moment, the main bone should always be 0, okay? It shouldn't influence anything. So if you go back to the frame 1 and select the move tool, it now doesn't move anything at all, okay? And this is good. This is just a parent bone for everything else. Okay, so with this bone selected, hit the B key, okay, or the select bone tool, okay? Select the bone, and now we can change its name here, okay? You need to call it like main bone or hip bone or whatever you like. Just type it and hit enter. And now you have the bone with the name, and now you can identify it later on when we go into further rigging, okay? So now add bone tool, okay, the same as before. It's the A key if you need a short key for that. And now you select the tip of the main bone, and because this is the back, we're going to do the column now. We should add like at least 2 bones, something like this, because we want the body to bend at the middle, okay? And so let's see the influence it has. Reduce it a little by clicking and dragging to the left, okay? And now we can go into frame 1, hit Z and test it out, and yet as you can see, now things are beginning to shape up. Look at that. The back bends, this one also rotates, okay? You can almost animate it as is, just with that, like know, very simple animation, but it is possible without splitting everything into all these layers. If you just had one drawing, the original one, if you just had this drawing, by adding just a couple of bones, you can almost have something animatable. Okay, the mouth is kind of moving, the back is kind of moving, just with bones in one image. But we don't want that. We want more detailed animation, so we should be going. Let's just delete these keyframes right here in frame 1. Just select it and hit delete. There you go. Now back to frame 0. Okay, and let's keep adding bones. Okay, so we have 2 bones for the back. We shouldn't need to name these ones. If you want, you can. Okay, but they'll have automatic names. They should suffice. So again, select this one and add with the A button, add another bone, and we're going to call this the head bone. This one needs a name. Okay, it's the main one. Let's call this head bone. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to do something a little different with this one. These are bound, like the back one, are bound just from the influence. But we don't want the skull to just wobble, right? We don't want the skull to bend like the back is bending. So what we are going to do is, and we don't want it to influence the back either, okay? So we don't want the skull itself to bend. We want it to rotate in its entirety, okay? And we don't want it to affect the top of the back. So again, reduce the influence to 0, okay? Or just type 0 here by clicking and dragging with this tool, okay, the bounce tray. Now go into the layers and find the skull, okay? And now we use this little tool here, okay? Bind layer. We just need to select the correct bone. Now it's selected, okay? And the skull, and now bind it to this bone, okay? Now what we did is the whole graphic of the skull, this whole layer, okay, everything, this is connected to just this bone. It doesn't suffer the influence of anything else. And because we reduced the influence of this bone to 0, this bone doesn't influence anything else either. So it doesn't change the shape of the arms or the back or anything else. It just rotates this layer, and it rotates the layer in its entirety because it's bound to it. Okay? So let's just check it out. Frame 1. Have some unnecessary keys here. Get rid of those. Okay. So let's just rotate it. See how it moves differently? Doesn't change anything else. This one does. This one does too. This one does not. Okay. So it worked perfectly, which is great. Let's just delete the keys back to 0. Okay. And moving on. So now we have the head and the back. We need the jaw. Okay, so let's see the jaw. Let's just erase, well, make invisible, not erase, the skull. Take a good look at the jaw. Okay, the jaw angle should rotate about here, right? Okay, so we select this one, again the B, select the head, and now with the A, click right here and drag it to about here. Don't end here because this will make your life harder when animating. Just overextend it a little so you can easily catch up with it when animating. Okay, and now we will do the same thing. We will select the jaw and bind the layer tool and bind it. Okay, now go back to this layer, select it and call it jaw. Okay, jawbone or just jaw, whatever you feel like you will remember better. Okay, there you go, jawbone. And now we need the cheek. The cheek is a bit tricky one because the cheek we need it to be on, well, we need to hang from the skull. Let's make it visible again. We need to hang from the skull, but also connect to the jaw. Okay, so it's a bit tricky. We're gonna do it a little later. Okay, let's do it just a little later. Now let's take a look at the eyelids. They're simple enough. We just want them to be either on or off. Okay, and just this. Actually, we rotated this, but now due to this angle and this angle not lining up, it doesn't work as well as this one. See how this one works? Because these are aligned, this and this. It really feels like it's closing the eye. And this one doesn't have that feel because this part is rotating way more than this one. So let's correct that with the layer tool, and let's reset the angle right here. Just hit it. It's done. Okay. And now let's see, it's better, it's not accurate enough. So let's actually rotate it the other way around. Okay, it's a zombie, so you can have like these weird wobbly eyes. See how that works better? Now feels, well, now feels like he's closing the eye. Okay, so let's leave it like that. Okay, so now we want that when we animate the head, the eyelids should follow. Okay, they shouldn't like drag along or anything like that. So again, use the bind layer and bind it to the main bone, both eyelids down to this one. Okay, this way, if we test it out, they're following, which is great. Now we need to go back to the jaw and frame 0, of course. Get this one out of the way. On frame 0, we need to go to the jaw and reduce the influence because it's moving the arm along, and that looked really weird. Okay, we can zoom in here and add a little bone from the jaw to the tongue. Okay, so let's add a little one right here, or maybe even two. Because actually, you know what? This part of the tongue, we don't want it to move, so we're gonna have a little one here to make sure that it stays put. And now this one and this one will make it move. Okay, so now if we test, let me just see the influences. It's way too much. Let's reduce it. Again, click and drag to the left. And now if you make it move, the tongue is moving great. Look at that. Yeah, wow, that's nice. But we have an issue. The arm is also being dragged along, okay? When we move the skull and the head, it doesn't move, but when we move the tongue, it does, because it has influence. The bone has this area of influence, okay? And we don't want that. So the way we resolve this is with offsets, okay? So this is why we might have needed these, okay? The reference here in back. So this is why it's useful. We need to select the tongue and drag it all the way to some place where it doesn't bother anyone. There. Now go into the bone layer and drag the bones, using T, drag the bones all the way there so it adds up. Okay. If now you select the base bone of the tongue, okay, and hit the letter P, you can see that it's connected to this one, the jaw bone. Okay, that is good. The parenting. You can unparenting it by clicking somewhere else, but we want it to be parented to this one. That means when this one moves, all these move. Okay, this bone, the jawbone, is the parent of the tongue bone, and that's what we want. So they're still connected even though they're this far apart. Okay, to reposition them during the animation, because if we go into animation now, there, I mean, just switch it up. It's there, it's way off. Like we animated, now it's really weird. It's like doesn't. Okay, it's a floating tongue. That's not what we want. But if we go to frame 0, there's another tool here that will help us. We will just select that bone, the base one, and we have this, the offset bone tool. Okay, Using the offset, you can now drag the bone to its correct positioning. And just bring this where it comes in handy. Bring it now, align it to the reference. Okay, there you go. It should be on its place. Yeah, and it is. Okay, and now if you go to frame 1 and animate it, let's switch off visibility for that one. If you animate it now, look at that. Okay, it does not influence the arm anymore, which is great. It doesn't influence the arm anymore because the tongue in reality is not here. It's not being rigged here. It's being rigged way over there. Okay, so these influences that you can see here now are in fact here, so they do not mess with anything else. Okay, so there you go. Let's just erase. Okay, there you go. Now we have the head, the eyelids, all connected. The tongue is moving. We just need to stabilize this main bone. Okay, see, hitting B, selecting it, and we now go to bone constraints right up here. Okay, top left, bone constraints. Go down. We're going to need an angle constraint on that one because we want to move the tongue around, like should like wobble a little, but this part should not wobble at all. Okay, because it's hanging from the jaw and the tooth and all that, and it should wobble. So we need an angle constraint, and we hit 0 and 0. See those little markings there? Okay, like this. You can also use the middle mouse button and rotate it, and it also adjusts the angle. Okay, so 0, 0. That means this bone cannot move, which is what we want. Okay, if you go here, then you hit either the Z or the R button, that does not move at all, but these do. Okay, have now a problem of influences. Let's correct that one. 0 and see influence wise. This should be better, meaning bigger. This one should be smaller, this one smaller, this one bigger. Let's see if it's better. Yeah. Maybe make this one even bigger. Okay, like this. These smaller. Let's see how it behaves now. Okay, it's actually this one should be a lot bigger. Like this. Okay. Let's just reduce it a tad. Like that. Okay, yeah, this works. Mm-hmm. I think I just no, I need that one. I was trying to like see if I really needed this one. Yeah, I do need it a little bit. Not at all, but a little bit. Okay, this works. It's just a wobble. It works. Okay. So the jaw is moving. The back of the jaw works fine. Brr. Okay. Let's delete this. Okay, now let's do another simple rig, the arm. Again, because the arm is just this one bone, we can link the layers just like we did in the head. Okay, so just select the top of the backbone, hit A to add an additional bone, and a new one. Let's call this arm underscore L because it's the left arm of the character, even though it's on our right, it's his left arm. So if that can be confusing, so if you want to name it the other way around, I totally understand that. I've seen animators do it both ways, so whatever you feel more comfortable with, understanding what's the left and the right. I usually name it for the character, not for myself, but that depends on the animator. So let's just see the arm. It's the left one. To the layer to this bone, and there you go. This one's done. Now the other arm should have a bend and a hand, so let's just make the skull invisible and the jaw so we can see. Okay, there it is. Now selecting the bone layer, just add, well, select this bone, okay, and add this and this. These would be the arms. Because the hand is there, we can just bend it a little and have the hand. Okay. Now it's a matter of choice. If how you want this arm to swing, you can want it all rubbery, like the arm is broken inside. So you would add like more bones here. I'm trying to keep it a little realistic, like a realistic zombie, if that's a thing. So I have two bones, like we have two bones here, but they're unnecessary because in real life you have two bones here so you can rotate the wrist. Sorry. And that won't be happening here. So it's one bone up until the elbow, one bone down to the wrist, and then one for the hand. If you want the fingers to wobble, just add a few bones here. Okay. Just add these. And now we have a parenting issue. Because if we hit P, now you see that this bone is the son of this one, and this one's the son of this one, and this is the only one with the correct parenting to the hand. Okay? So we saw parenting before with the tongue. Just hit the B to select the bones, select these two, the ones with the bad parenting, and hit the P, okay, or here the parenting tool, reparent, and hit the hand, and now they're all well rigged. Okay, all three now are son bones or have the parent as the hand bone. Okay, you can name this the hand bone, and it's on the right side. Again, you can name it left if you understand it better that way. It's up to you. Now let's see influences of this because we might have a couple of issues here. Okay, reduce the hand, reduce the fingers. Okay, there you go. Now reduce the arm and the other arm. Okay. Now let's test it out. See how it. That doesn't look good at all, does it? Look at that. You know why? Because we have this arm way too close to the torso. So the influence of these bones are affecting this one. Okay. So again, like the tongue, we are going to need to move them out. Okay. If you just have one bone down like I have here, this one should be fine. Okay, it's not fine because I didn't remove the influence. Let's remove it right now. There you go. And okay, so see this one, what is that? Huh, there's an issue there. Let's figure out what that is. I have no idea what that is. Let us look for, why is that going? Huh, this is just one bone, right? There's no parenting arrows anywhere here. And oh, you know what it is? It's this right here. Glad that happened. As you can see that just dragging sometimes is not enough. You should really hit 0 here. Okay, now it should be solved. See, there you go. Solved. So now I can bring back the torso and the jaw and skull and all that. And if we move this one, it has no problems whatsoever. Okay, it's in front of everything. It moves along, doesn't affect anything. If we move this one, the whole character breaks. Okay. So we need to do the same thing that we did with the tongue. Okay, so just select the, well, we can start from the bones this time because they're all connected. Just drag them all the way here. Okay, and now select the right arm. Where's the right arm? Here you go. Right arm, right hand. Okay, these two layers, the ones we need. Drag them over here. There you go. Try to align it as it was before with these bones on fingers. Okay, and now if we move it, okay, moves pretty okay-ish. Okay, that it's nice. How the fingers wobble a little. Okay, considering this is all just one image, that's not bad. Now this is an issue. Do you want this? This is something that you have to figure out for yourself. If you want when the hand moves, the sleeve to also move, leave it as is. If you don't want that, what you need to do is, well, break them apart further, okay? Just grab this one, drag it down. I don't want it to move, so I'm doing this. Now I need my hand, the right hand, drag it down here, okay? And now using in the bone layer, using the offset, okay, put it back in place. And now if I move it, it doesn't affect the sleeve, which is what I want. Now again, you can do whatever you want on yours. If you feel like it with the sleeve that you have, it works better, just do it. And now again, offset and move it all the way. Let's reactivate this layer for reference and position it in the place, in the correct place. Okay, that should be, there you go. Now test it out again. Hit, whoop, whoops, it's not Z. Yeah, Z. Okay, now it moves, no problem. Now it can start, like it wants to catch you. Okay, that's good. Now, actually, we might want this hand to be in front of everything. Might look better, right? Yeah, so let's bring the left arm on top of everything else. See, look at that. Now it can look like it's trying to reach you, but the poor guy doesn't have half of his arm. Okay, that's nice. Okay, that's cool. Zombie pose. Okay, let's default him again. Just change tools and it will default. Okay, so now begin to have a full-on character, which is great. Now the legs. Okay, the legs have some particularities. So far, we've been using forward kinematics, meaning that you animate things like this. Okay, just grab the bone itself and animate it as you want it to move. In the legs, particularly on the feet, we're going to use inverse kinematics, meaning that we will have a target and the rest of the chain of bones will go after that target bone, okay? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so we will get to that. Now select the hip. Again, the hip is the main bone, and now we will add another bone, sorry about that, and add another bone here, and another from the knee down, and another here, and the tip of the toe, okay? Because it will give you a nice wobbly movement on this part of the foot. It's really useful for animation. So that's it. Let us see. Oh yeah, the influences are all over the place. So let's reduce those. Make them all a bit smaller. Test it out, and it starts everything. So you're going to need to break the character again. Okay. You know how to do that by now. Just select the teeth, drag the bones out, and now select, this will be the left leg. So leg here, foot is also the left one, the left leg, and now move them to the side, align them with the bones that you already had in place. Okay, now test it out. The Z, okay, smooth. See, gives you this, and this is really useful for this. Okay, like when the foot is like moving forward, you can bend it down. When the foot is still on the floor but lifting, you can have this. It's really, this bone is really useful. Okay, so now everything's bending really good. Look at that. Wow, really like the movement on this leg. Okay, so now select the top one, and with the, sorry, select the top one, go to the bone layer, otherwise this won't show the offset, and move it, using this as a reference, and move it back into place. And there you go. There it is. Now, okay, Z, there you go. Z for zombie, of course. There you go, see? You can moonwalk. Yay! Okay, that's great. So now we need to move the other leg. So again, main bone, add bones, and from the hip to the knee, here, and now there's the, I don't think we need the front one. Oh, we'll add it anyway. I don't think from this angle of the foot we'll actually need this bone, but we'll see it further along the way. Okay, now again, if we move, well, the influence is going to be way too big for now. So reduce them again. Like this should look fine. Now grab this bone and move it because it will influence. See that actually that doesn't look that bad. I don't know if I want to move this. I think I'm leaving it. Yeah, this won't be offset, okay? Because everything, because this leg is offset, I don't need to offset this one. I like the way it affects the shirt here. Gives it a little motion there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, this one stays. Okay, so now everything forward kinetics wise is in place. We will now add the inverse kinematics, okay? Sounds really weird, like inverse and forward kinematics and all that. Just fancy talk for movement, the way you control the movement. Okay, so now we will add a target bone right here on the edge of this one. Okay, well, let's save before anything else. Okay, let's save it. Let's save it with another name. Save it 02. Okay, there you go. Nice. Okay, now with this bone selected, let's add another bone right there. Okay, and this bone, well, because it's a ground, you can just point it down, and we will call it target, and it's a leg, and it's the right leg. So target leg. Okay. Now selecting this one, we will go into bone constraints, and we will give it a little of, I don't know, like 1.5 should be enough. Yeah, okay. And here in the target, we will select, and this is why we need the names on a few of the bones. Target leg. Okay, see the same name that we gave it? There you go. Now there's a little thingy there. You can see a little round, like a bullseye, like a target. Subtle. Target bone. Okay, so you can close this now and selecting this. Oh, let's go into frame one to see everything is just the same. Oh, wait a minute. Need to reduce the influence of this. Otherwise, it will look really weird. Okay, so now if we move this one, see, the other bones will try to get to it. Okay. Okay, this bone is connected. Wait a minute, why is there's something going on. It's weird. I don't really understand. This part is working fine, so this is what a target does. I don't get why we have this distance over here. Let me just solve this, see what this is. Oh, before I can solve that, there's another issue. You see the foot there, it's moving along with the leg, and we don't want that. So we should select the foot, go back, select the foot, and here in the bone constraints, it should have, where is the independent angle? There you go, up there, independent angle. Okay, so now if we move this one, yeah, let's go from one and move the target, it keeps parallel to the ground. Okay, that's what we want. I have no idea what is happening. Okay, I'm going to pause the video right now. I'm going to solve it. Why this distance is, because this is normal. Like it's trying to get there but can't reach because I defined the stretching at 1.5. But this shouldn't be happening. Okay, maybe it's a parenting issue. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Okay, I solved it and it was really easy, as I thought it was a parenting issue. Okay, so as we had it before, this was parented to this one. Okay, and the problem here on first frame, if I try to move this one, it goes all janky. Okay, because this bone is its parent, but it's also targeting it, so it's kind of a cyclic reference. So you need to just delete these keyframes. Okay, go back to frame 0 and select it with the B and hit the P and see the parenting arrow, just hit somewhere else, and now it's not parented to that one. Okay, and actually let's leave it as it was with the error there, and we can see how I figured it out. I selected the main bone, that's the parent of everything, and when I pulled it away, it does nothing, okay? And it's supposed to do something. That's how I figured it out. I put it back, and then going to frame 0, removing this parenting by, again, hitting P and somewhere without a bone. And now this bone is parent to the whole structure except for the target one. And now we can use it to do this. Okay, and this is the proper way I-key works. Okay, inverse kinematics is used for this. It keeps the bone in place while you move everything else. So you can move the bone itself. Okay, and there you go. You can like sidestep and start dancing, or you can move the whole thing, and that one tries to stay there. Stretches a little bit because again I gave it stretch here 1.5. Actually I need to put that on this one too, otherwise it looks kind of funky. 1.5 there, enter, see, better. So that was it. It was a parenting issue. The target bones cannot be parented to the main controller, okay, nor to one of its descendants. Let's call it that. Okay, it should just don't never have a parent. Okay, so let's do the same on this leg. Again, on the base of this bone right here on the intersection, just you can hit B and nothing. So this selects the bone. If you hit the ear, nothing is selected. As you can see here, no name. So just hit A, add new bone. Once again, point it to the ground. Okay, and let's name it. How was the other one named? Let's see, it was target. Okay, we can just copy this with Control C, select this one, Control V, and move it, change this one to left. Okay, now select the shin bone and go into bone constraints, target, and it should target the left. Okay, left leg target. Again, now select these two And the stretching, IT stretching 1.5 works for the other leg, should work for this one too. You can, of course, add different values to that if you want more stretchiness, more squash and stretch to those bones, but that's up to you and to your model. There you go. Whoa, that's nuts. Let's just position it where it's supposed to be, right there. Okay, see how that moves. Okay, so again, this is using inverse kinematics to move the legs. Okay, we could also use this on the arm, but I don't think we need to, because we will not need the arm to stand like holding anything or grabbing anything, like we do the feet to stay on the ground solidly while we move the rest of the model. Okay, we move it around and the feet stay on the ground. They do not go anywhere. Okay, we don't need that for the arms, so we just do it with forward kinematics. Okay, we could add a target to the hand and then we just move the target and it moves around. Okay, you could do that if you want. So it's the same way as we did to the legs. So just feel free to do that if you want. Okay. So let me see just something. He's snapping to there because of the offset. Let me use the reference and make this one position here. And final position, if you go to frame one, let me put this one invisible. Oh, it works. See? There it is. So again, leave the reference there. It's very useful for the offsets. Now we need to do something very similar to that with the this hanging thread. What do I call it? The cheek. These cheek piece right here. Because now, actually, everything is pretty much already rigged. Congratulations on that, doing your first full character rig, except for this. Okay, first off, I think we need to move the axis of this jaw because it looks kind of weird, and when it closes, goes way up. So that's kind of bizarre. Let's change that around. Let's change position of this to here. Okay, this angle should be better, should work better. Let's see. See, it works better. Yeah, it's now more like he's talking. Okay, but now the tongue is in a really weird position. Let's fix that. Where's the tongue? Okay, because the bones rotated there because they're parented to this one. Because we moved this one changed positions. So we need to readjust it. Put it up there, correct the angle. Something like this should work fine. Let's hit the offset just to make sure. Yeah. Reposition it. And there you go. It's back into position. It works fine now. Now, yes. Okay. Now again, as I was saying, we need now a little extra bone that should be assigned to the head. And let's add it right here. It's just for the cheek. You could call it cheekbone, even though it's not really a cheekbone. It's just a stretching thing for the skin here. Okay? And it needs to connect just to the cheek using the layer binding to the bone. Okay, and now select it here. Okay, in the bone layer, select this one. Is it? Yeah, it is. And reduce the influence to, well, let's just punch it in. 0. There you go. And now, if we move the head, everything goes. This one goes, but this one does not close. Okay, what we needed to do is to do something like this, and then, well, contract. That should be the word. Okay, So what we're going to do is we're going to rig it to a target bone here, but this target bone will have a parent that is the jawbone. Okay, so let's have first let's make this bone the cheekbone. Squash and stretch, and IT stretching, let's hit it with 2 on both accounts. Okay, let's have that. We can actually use that on these ones too. Squash and stretch makes it 0.5. Makes it a lot more funnier when they stretch a lot. Okay, should be doing that on frame 0 actually. It doesn't complain. Let me see if it took. It took, so it's fine. Okay, so now if we test this out, see, they conserve volume. It's if they stretch, they get thinner. If they contract, they get bulgier. Okay, so that's good. Oh, we have an issue with the foot. See there, that foot, the left foot is moving automatically, and we don't want that. So we need to select the foot. Again, frame 0, go into here, and independent angle as we did the other foot before. And now it should be working fine. Yep, there you go. Now the feet are glued to the ground. Just need to adjust a little bit of the influences. Just check this right here. Right, this one shouldn't be that big. Should be actually 0. It is now. And these should be a wee bit bigger. Okay, like this. Nice. This one should be 0, however. And now we need to add a target that's son of the jawbone. So now add a little one here at the tip of it because it's where it will try to get. Let's call it cheek. Well, just target cheek. Okay. And now influence will be 0. The parenting, let's just check it. It's correct. It's from there. And now we need the cheekbone to target it. So bone constraints, target cheek. There you go. And the parenting of this one, the parent is the head one. So this should work. Let's test it out. Frame 1. And let's animate cheek with Z. And it's not compressing, but it's targeting all right. The angle's fine. Look at that. It's good. I actually might need the same thing on the other side. Wait. Too many bones. Okay, so it works when it goes down. See there? It's stretching. Looks great, but not compressing. Well, we can compress it by hand. Okay. Oh, that looks great. Look at that. Look at the jaw going. That's great. Okay. So now let's do the same on the other side so it doesn't break like that. So this one looks fancy and the other one doesn't. So let's just add a little bone there. Again, from the skull, little bone down here. Maybe change a little the positioning to here. Rotate a bit. Okay. Now select the jaw, add another target right there. Little one. Let's call it target cheek and R because it's on the right side of the character. Let's change this one to have squash and stretch 2 and IK stretching 2 and to have a target that is the right cheek R. There is there? Yeah. Okay. Close. Close. There you go. And now when we move the jaw, let's move the jaw. Targets it. Why it's not stretching? Oh, I know. I know, because we have the full jaw connected to it. Hmm. Change the rig a bit. If we're going to need influences on there, we're going to have to do a little offsetting. It's no biggie. Let's just grab the whole jaw, change it, position, jaw here, and have this bone pointing there. Okay, this one doesn't need to move. And now the jaw layer should move the here. So let me see where it should be. It should be somewhere like this, right? Should be something like this, yeah. A little upper, yeah. This, I think this is correct. Now let's see. Of course, this one now is out of place too. So let's reposition. Okay, that's good. Now using the offset, the tongue now needs to go up there. Activate the reference one. Okay, let's put the jaw back in place. And now the tongue in its place also. There you go. Everything's back to form. And this bone, oh, because it's right, shouldn't have moved at all. This bone should be here where it was before. Let me just make this invisible. See influences. This should have a wee bit influence. Now let's see. Let's see the. How did I rig the jaw? Let's select the jaw, and it's yeah, it's rigged to the whole bone. Okay, we need to undo that because we now want this part to be flexible. So what we need is to go into bone and release layer. Okay, see it's no longer selected. And now what we want is the FlexiBind layer. There you go. FlexiBind it. That means bind it to the bones using the influences. Okay, so let's see how it is now. This one has a huge influence on it. Okay, and now this one has a small influence. I think this bone really needs to be up there and then be offset. Let's just check for the animation. I think that's the case. Yeah, you see, it's not doing anything at all. So let's go back to frame 0 and move that bone up there to connect, and then we will offset it. See, now it's going, and now it connects there. All good and dandy, all fine. And now animate the jaw, and it's squashing a bit. It's squashing just a wee bit. Can we make it squash more? Well, again, it wasn't designed for this. I'm just adding this now. Well, it's got a margin, you know. This, yeah, it works enough for what it is. If you want it to, like, when it does this, it stretches. Let me just see if we can push it down. And now we just influence if we can do something else. No, actually, it doesn't stretch that much, does it? No. Just corrects a wee bit of the angle until this point, and it breaks. You know? So like this, that should be good. Yeah. Okay. So we have a little bit of a complex rigging here, so we can have a little extra stretch on those cheeks. Okay. There we go. So now let's delete these. And this is our zombie. We can add now. Oh, I know. We can have some automated movement on a couple of places. Let's cover that so we can finish this off. Okay, so we can have like selecting the head here, just add a couple of bones and then select those. You're going to bone constraints and bone dynamics. Okay, leave the default values of 2 for torque force, the spring force, and the dampening. Quick tip on what these mean. The torque is the amount of energy that it receives and makes the wobble. The spring force is when it tries to get to its original positioning. The higher it is, the more wobbly it will be, like back and forth. And the dampening force is like the brake. It's when it starts to stop. If it is really high, the dampening, it will stop faster. So we'll leave it at 1 because it's a little hair. And let's see how those values work, the default ones. Let's just reduce this. Okay. Let me just see how much these move. Oh, they don't move at all because, right, because we had this connected. The layer was connected. Let me just see the skull. Right, the skull is connected to this. If we offset this now, well, let's just have that extra work. Have these move. Or wait, it's just the same as this. You already know how to do that. Do you want to make the hairs move? It will look nice, right? Okay, so let's go the extra mile. Let's do that. Let's make the whole skull move again. Let's make it move. Wait, wrong bone. It's this one. Okay, let's make the whole thing move somewhere it doesn't go nuts. There. Like here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong frame. No. Which means frame 0. Okay. Where do we have room? We have room upstairs. Okay, so we'll take the... Yeah, actually, this is everything that goes with it. Okay, so let's put the head way up here. Let's move the skull there. Okay, oh, wait a minute. Let me just check something first before I start moving it. The bone is aligned with the eyes. Okay, so now, yes, let's move the bone. Let's move this bone up here. Let's move this skull up there also. It was not with the eye, so it should be over here somewhere. Oh, now we have the hairs as reference. Okay, and now the eyelids go up there to 1, and the other one all connected. Nice. Okay, now the cheek goes in here. Okay, that's great. And now we have a bunch of stuff that is out of place. Okay, so the jaw should be somewhere around here, I believe. Yeah, this should be fine. And the tongue, where's the tongue? Tongue layer, move it to way over here. Okay. Now let's check if the offsets are right on the bone layer. Okay, everything's working fine. It's great. Just looks like a whole of a mess, but it actually isn't. And now we position the skull as we did before. Okay, using the reference. And let's position it. And there you go, right in place. Okay. So now we went to all this trouble of repositioning the head so we could go into the skull, deactivate release layer. It was bound to that bone, the main bone. And now we have it on flexi bind layer. Okay, so now the skull needs to have influence. It didn't before, remember? We took it all out. It's 0, and we now need to like bump it up. Okay, if it's 0, the skull is right there. As soon as we start getting it some influence, it comes back, which is great. Now it's working fine. And now these are the ones that we went to all this trouble for to get a little extra movement. We can have, okay, there we go. These two will be bone dynamics. That means they're automated. But we don't just want these to be automated, we want the tongue to be automated as well. Okay, these two should be also dynamic bones. And well, I think that would be it. We want to animate both arms and the fingers too. We might want that. Well, actually not the fingers because we can't grab anything with them the way they're drawn. So let's just make them dynamic also. Okay, there you go. So let's just put the timeline a little bit upper. Okay, so we can see that, yeah, there's no problem there. Put it back down again, not animating yet. Okay, so nothing happens. But if we start adding keys to it, like it's here, and then it's here, and then it goes back to the same, goes to the beginning. Okay, just copied Control C, Control V, the keyframe, and now you can see I'm just hitting Alt and right click makes it so this is the end of the animation. Then this way you have a nice loop. Okay, see the hair moving there. The actual image isn't moving that much, so let us reduce the influence here and make this a little more. Oh, not this one, especially this one. Okay, and let's make it move. And now it doesn't move at all. Oh man, all that extra work and it's not moving. Well, but the tongue is, see, the tongue is moving because it's a separate layer. Okay. See, look at that. It's awesome. We're not animating that. We're just animating the main bone, as you saw in the timeline, and the tongue is animating on its own. We can now make a little adjustment to it. Where's the tongue? That tongue is right there. We can have the whole thing move more. So let's have it. I had. Let's go nuts. Let's go with 6, so you can see perfectly what changes when you change that value. See, it moves a whole lot more. Okay, the force that it has is, you see it, there you go, it contracts a whole lot more. It's actually too much now. Let's go back to frame 0 and change this to be, I don't know, like 4 should be enough, and this, no, this one should be 4, and this one should be like 3, because this one should move more because the tongue is attached on the top. So this part wobbles more than this one, and this one doesn't wobble at all. Okay, so this has a higher value, 4, this is lower value, 3, and this has nothing. Okay, maybe this one should be 2. Let's change it to 2 as it was the default one, and let's see how that works. And that works fine. Look at that. Great. So that's what the dynamic bones have. Okay, so I think this is it for rigging. Let me just delete these. Okay, we have now fully rigged character. You can just collapse this layer, and you can see that it moves its arms, its hand. Okay, we understood about ordering the layers, what goes on top of what. We have inverse kinematics here. We have independent angles. We have targets, again, inverse kinematics. Um, have restrictions on angles. This one has a 0. I can't move it at all. Okay, I'm trying to, and it's going anywhere. We can add restrictions to this one. For instance, if we don't want it to like go all nuts like that, just to have something different on the end, we can just like this, close, and now see, that's constraint. It doesn't go past these, and that's it. So congratulations, you just rigged your first character full on, and it's all ready for animation, which will be the next lesson. So see you soon.